And this week, it's turning into a tough bet for some people.
People say they saw a lot of cars in the ditch near Sioux Falls. Police say there were about 400 cars either stranded or abandoned all since Tuesday night. And people who are flying to Frisco are seemingly having a much easier time of that travel.
Yeah, that's where we find our Valley Today's Courtney Lockie joining us live this morning from Frisco, Texas with what we can expect when we head out there. Good morning, Courtney.
Good morning, Jordan, Ashlyn. That's right. Flying was very easy for us. We were able to make it to Frisco last night around 8 o'clock. This morning, we're outside of Toyota Stadium, where in just 3 days, the Bison will look to get their revenge against SDSU and bring home the national championship. Now, it's going to be a good game. If we remember back in October, SDSU beat NDSU at home by just 2 points, but we do know that the Bison played pretty well here in Frisco, winning the last 9 out of 11 titles. Now, if you can take a look here, we're going to bring something up for you. This is a lot of fun. This is called the Bison Tracker, and you can see all those green dots. They're fans who have logged in. We've got about 3,500 so far. You can see a little trail going from the Dakotas all the way south to here in Frisco. People we talked to, they're either flying, they're taking a bus, they're taking a car. Some are even taking a train. We've got a lot that's going on this weekend. The Bison, they're going to have their final practice here at Toyota Stadium just on Saturday afternoon. That will lead into the NDSU prep rally. We'll be talking to local businesses on how they're preparing and sharing fan stories all throughout the week leading up to Sunday's game day. Hope you'll join us.
Okay, very exciting. We did see that big green cluster on I-29, so more and more folks still making their way down south. And look at it, looks pretty warm, everybody. You might be breaking out your Bison short sleeves.
No jacket for her.
No winter coats.
Even better news. Okay.
That's a championship in itself.
Yeah, Courtney, we're going to be checking in with you again tomorrow morning. Thank you. It is now 6:53. We also want to get a check of your forecast if you haven't left yet and you're wondering what the roads are like. Lisa Green has you covered. Morning.
Good morning. Well, the weather is really improving for your trip down to Frisco because that storm system that's been hitting Minnesota, that's been hitting parts of South Dakota, it's moving on. Not quite done yet, but it is starting to move on. And you can see between Frisco and Fargo looking pretty quiet. Just a couple of snowflakes in and around the Sioux Falls area. Now, if you're flying, heading through, maybe you have a layover in O'Hare today, that might be a trouble spot because you can see that snow moving on into the Chicago area right now. Now, zooming in a little bit more here, you can see where that snow has been around Sioux Falls and points to the east. And this is an area where we've had trouble on the roads with ice and snow from this recent system. And Jordan's going to check on that in just a second. But the weather is quieting down. Heading into Minneapolis as well, still a little bit of snow there, but that is starting to taper off as well. It'll be improving as the day goes on in Minneapolis. Here in the valley, our big problem is the fog. That's going to be our biggest issue through the rest of the morning hours. And visibility is quite dense in spots. We are at a quarter-mile visibility in Valley City. Fargo's back down to a half-mile visibility, and so is Detroit Lakes. Moving to the Northern Valley, this is an area that's been having a little more trouble. We're at 0 in Grand Forks and in Crookston. So between those two communities, right along Highway 2, might be an especially tough stretch of road because visibility is not just down, it's freezing fog. So it's depositing on the roads. There might be some frost and some slick spots in those areas. Same thing along Highway 59 and northwest Minnesota. Here's our visibility in Fargo. You can see it's down a bit here in town. We're going to be seeing our temperatures in that above 0 range for most areas. Some of us are a degree or 2 below. We're at 5 right now in Fargo, feeling more like 6 below when we factor in just a little bit of wind, only 6 miles per hour out of the northwest. So out at the bus stop this morning, a little foggy, a little murky, might be a little frosty on those sidewalks. This afternoon, looking better. We'll see more sunshine in the mix and temperatures back into the teens for highs. Another round of fog tomorrow, but check out this 7-day planner. Quiet for several days in a row. We even warm up a little bit heading into next week. Next chance for snow starts up Wednesday night. So a whole week here where we're looking at some pretty quiet weather.
Okay, thank you so much for that update this morning, Lisa. We're going to check in now with Jordan for a road report, and we're covering 3 different states this morning.
Yeah, a lot to go over here. We were talking about folks heading down to Frisco, taking a look at North Dakota real quick. Most everything is green around Grand Forks. We see a little frost on the road, but everything else along the interstate, good to go. So North Dakota travel, not going to be your issue today. If you're heading down south, South Dakota is where you're going to run into some problems here. So right up top by my hand, that's the North Dakota-South Dakota border. So you're heading on to the south, and on the map here, we're showing pink and black lines in South Dakota. That means we have some scattered ice, scattered slippery conditions. That continues from the border to Brookings, South Dakota. You're going to be dealing with it. Then it gets worse when you go south of Brookings. We're actually talking a solid pink line, and that means solid slippery or ice conditions on the interstate there. So I-29 getting worse once you leave Brookings and head to Sioux Falls, Vermilion, and then down into Nebraska. So watch out if you're traveling to Frisco. Minnesota still cleaning up from a really big dump that they had there. Parts of the Twin Cities got a foot of snow. If you have to head to the Twin Cities today because perhaps you're flying out of there, from St. Cloud to it looks like an outer suburb there, probably Otsego, we have 13 crashes being reported along I-94 there. And then once you get into the Twin Cities, hard to even see what's going on, all these little bubbles and different colors on the map. That's because there's so many roads covered in snow and so many crashes happening there. So watch out wherever you're going this morning, and you can stay updated with the VNL News and weather apps. Ashlyn?
All right, thank you for that real-time update. A West Fargo woman is warning people of the dangers of thin ice after she ran after her dog that fell through into the frigid Cheyenne River. While she was able to safely rescue her pup, she says it was not safe. She advises against others doing the same thing, and the West Fargo Fire Department agrees. If your pet breaks through the ice, do not go after it because you'll probably go under too. Instead, call 911 as soon as possible. Norman County Sheriff Jeremy Thornton is in hospice care after being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Clay County Sheriff Mark Emting made the announcement on behalf of Thornton yesterday. He says Sheriff Thornton's family is thanking the Norman County community for their support over the past several years. A former Fargo South High School band teacher is pleading guilty to corruption of a minor after being accused of having sexual relations with an underage student.
Court documents say police first became aware of tackling last June when he was found lying on an air mattress with a student in the back of a vehicle in Riverwood Park. The girl later told police their sexual relationship started in October of 2021 when she was 17. After more than 500 calls to police, several arrests, and months of back and forth with the homeowner, demolition now underway on a known drug house in South Fargo. It's at 924 5th Street South in Fargo's historic Hawthorne neighborhood.
The home was labeled as a dangerous building in July by city inspectors. Property owner Daniel Curtis had 30 days to obtain necessary permits to improve the residence and bring it back into compliance. But officials say he did not do that. The city says Curtis agreed to meet with the city staff yesterday, but never even showed up. So police moved in to clear that house of about a dozen people inside. A house fire in Grand Forks County that we told you about earlier this week is now an attempted murder case. Firefighters were called to a mobile home in Emerado Saturday. Court documents say investigators later learned a man pushed a woman on a bed and kicked her and choked her while the house was burning.
The victim told police she picked up 29-year-old Jeffrey Mundis from Buxton and brought him back to her place. It turned into a drunken fight, though. He's now charged with attempted murder.
All right, everybody, horns up.
Yeah, we are getting ready for it. We are coming on into the Bison game on Sunday. As we said, our team coverage of it will continue tomorrow on the Valley Today.
Yeah, please be safe if you're trying to head out. If you're traveling by roadway, you don't want to end up in a position like this.
Oh, bring the shovel.
Take care, everybody.